Blast me to Alactia! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 53, Part 4. Rules, Gallery and Mission. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So first off, a little bit of an apology. I'm sorry that the last video was a pretty long video, but I did have a lot of fun filming it, even if it did take quite a lot of hours. And I had a lot of people asking to see it, so hopefully they've watched it, if not at once, maybe in parts. I might go back and edit it and put some timestamps on for people so they can find certain sections a little easier. But it is what it is. And like I said, I had great fun filming it. And here is the end result. So the Triarch Stalker here, nicely painted up in my Saltec Dynasty colour scheme, using the dark green with the lighter greens highlighting. I've even gone and put a few transfers on this guy just to give him a little bit of extra detail. And I've given him the usual varnish of Storm Shield all over, and I've used hard coat on the energy pipes just to give them a little bit more of a glowing effect. But this is the end of 52 and 53, and I have really enjoyed doing this model, and I can't wait to get around to my second one. He's already built, I just need to prime him and paint him. I have left my other one in a few more sub-assemblies. I have left the armor panels off on my second one, and that is definitely going to be useful, as I found it quite difficult getting to all the detail in behind with them attached. So with them off, I should be able to get in and paint a little bit more of the detail on the actual pilot. The arms do move, but due to the washing and the varnishing, they are a little on the stiff side, but constant use and they should work free a bit more. So let's move on then. We've got a few rules to look at, mainly for the Triarch Stalker and the Necron stratagems. And then we can dive into this issue's mission. So here we are with issue 53, and let's have a look at our new rules. So first off, we've got our Necron stratagems. So in the previous issue we had the universal stratagems. These are Necron exclusive ones, only usable by the Necron player. So we've got the Resurrection Protocols stratagem, which allows you to improve your resurrections. So use the stratagem in any phase when a Necron's infantry noble or crypt deck is destroyed. You may choose to roll 1d6 at the end of the phase instead of using any rules that are triggered when that model is destroyed, e.g. surrogate host abilities. If you do on a 4+, set that model back up on the battlefield and as close as possible to where it was destroyed, more than 1 inch away from enemy models with D3 wounds remaining. This stratagem cannot be used in set the same model up more than once per battle. So it's a little bit of extra life to your characters, which is pretty good. We got Techno Oracular Targeting, which helps you improve shooting of nearby units. Self-destruction, so you can automatically choose to destroy a unit as the destruction rule. And instead, you roll a d6 on a 2 to 5, that unit suffers d3 wounds, on a 6 it suffers 3, and on a 1, I'm guessing nothing happens. Or you just suffer the normal 1 mortal wound. And then we got the Relentless Onslaught, so choose a stratagem in your shooting phase when a core infantry unit from your army is selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack with rapid fire and an unmodified 6 scores an additional hit. So that's cool. That's giving your Tesla effects basically to your other Gauss weapons. That'd be pretty cool. And on the back we've got a couple of tutorials on how some of them work. So we've got the Resurrection Protocols here. The Overlords lost the fight and been destroyed by the Primaris Captain. They activate the Resurrection Protocols stratagem. Comes back to life, charges in, and gets his revenge. And we got one on the Techno Oracular Targeting, so it shows how the rerolls are for the usable on the Triarch Stalker. speaking of our Triarch Stalker, here we have his rules. He's a pretty beefy rules stat line. So you've got movement 10, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+, strength 7, toughness 6, wounds 12, attacks 3, leadership 10, and a 3+ save. He does degrade over time, so his movement goes down to 8 and 6. Ballistic skill and weapon skill both go down to 4 then 5. So we've got the heat ray, which mine is equipped with. So it's a heavy 2d6 for the dispersed, strength 5 -1 damage, or you can focus it for a heavy 2, strength 8 -4 and d6 damage. So you got a little bit more destruction there, or you got what I'll be using mostly for this game is probably focusing on dealing more hits on less wounds infantry. You can also get your particle shredder, which is the heaviest of the particle weapons. So we got heavy 8, strength 6, -1 and 2 damage. And my favourite weapon, the twin heavy gauze cannon, which is heavy 6, strength 7, -3 and d3 damage. So that's going to be pretty useful. And the 4 limbs are strength for user, so it's strength 7, -2 and 3 damage on those. So this model's heat ray can be replaced with one of the following, either a particle shredder or a heavy gauze cannon. So it comes with a heat ray as standard, and the 4 limbs. So we've got living metal and command protocol rules, quantum shielding, so it gets a 5+ invulnerable save. In addition, each time an attack is made against this model, an unmodified 1 to 3 always fails, irrespective of abilities that weapon may have. So that's cool. You've got added a bit of protection there. And you've got the targeting relay, which there's a tutorial for on the other page. And then he has the explode rule. So, quantum shielding effect. Here, so the quantum shielding ability enables the Triarch Stalker to avoid taking damage, granting it a 5+ invulnerable save. However, this ability also prevents models from being able to wound it on rolls of 1, 2, or 3, regardless of the weapon's strength. So here we have a supercharging plasma cauldron from a Catapult Destroyer, which would be strength 8, and would need a 3 normally against toughness 6, but because of the quantum shielding, it needs a 4. Then we've got the targeting array, so as long as a Triarch Stalker has shot at a unit, any nearby units targeting the same unit can reroll hit rolls of 1. So that's pretty cool. That's it for our rules. So we're moving on to our mission. So we've got the Triarch coming in and leading the not leading, but observing the Necron forces against a combined force of the Adeptus Sororitas and the Mechanicum. And I will go ahead and admit I have been doing all of this wrong. I did not read my Initiate mission pack correctly. As we are using Initiate rules, I can use all of the army-specific rules, regardless of having a mixed detachment. So I will be doing that from this mission onwards until things change again. So this mission, we got pretty good forces. We got the Overlord, Technomancer, Plasmancer, 10 warriors, 5 immortals, 2 criticals, and of course the Stalker. The Imperium side is all our Battle Sisters, so a Canoness, Battle Sisters, Repentia, Repentia Superior, Archiflagellants, and the Penitent Engine, and the Tech Priest Dominus, Tech Priest Engineer, 10 Scutari Rangers, and 3 Catapult Destroyers. 2 battle mats, we've got 5 objectives. We got a progressive objective and a Slay the Warlord objective. So I will set the battlefield up and I'll be right back. So we have set up and both sides have deployed. Pretty much gone for gun line formations on both sides. The only reserves I've placed for the Battle Sisters are the Seraphim in their Sky Strike, so it hasn't cost any command points. Other than that, everything has deployed as is. Got the Necron Overlord in optimal position to give my will be done to either units, depending which can bead line to the enemies first. I think I've got a strategy in mind, but we'll have to see how things play out. The terrain is kind of a haphazard, sort of midst of a sector sort of thing. A few random scattered containers. One really large building here, smaller one here, and 2 other standard middle-sized ones just there. So the Necrons approaching the district. Here we go with some dramatic reading. The Triarch. The silent king's eyes are littered throughout the ranks of his underlings. The Triarch act as his enforcers, ensuring that battles are fought according to ancient codes and laws of the Necrontier, and ensuring the victory of the Necron race over their foes. The performance of the Necron legions on Electia has come under scrutiny, resulting in the arrival of a Triarch Stalker. The ominous observer seeks to ensure the Overlord's forces complete their victory in good time. Necrons Triarch Stalker oversee victory. Triarch Stalker marches to battle at the head of a newly invigorated Necron force. With the eyes of the Triarch Praetorians firmly upon him, the Overlord has ordered his nobles and cryptex to redouble their efforts. The Adeptus Mechanicus positions must be scoured and secured as swiftly as possible. Imperium Canoness to defend the depot. The Canoness has arrived amidst the Adeptus Mechanicus facilities and sub-cloisters to find the entire district assailed by an overwhelming Necron force. If her forces are to have any chance of turning back the Triarch Stalker and his accompanying Necrons, they will need the firepower of the Martian host. So we have 5 objective markers scattered throughout the battlefield. At the end of each player's turn, a player who controls an objective will score 1 point for each of those objectives. If they control more than the opponent, they will score an additional victory point. The bonus point can't be scored in the first round. And the battle player with the most victory points is victorious. We also have Slay the Warlord, so players score a victory point for destroying the enemy Warlord. Warlords in this case will be the Canoness, and I'm probably going to go for the Overlord. He is the better of the leaders. Although the narrative does specify the Triarch Stalker, but I will go with the Overlord. He is the better leader. So all we've got left to do is to roll to see who gets first turn. I'll do that just now. The Necron sees it with a 6. So here we go then with Necron's turn 1. So end of turn 1, and it has been just a maneuvering sort of game. Protocol of Sudden Storm went active for the Necrons, and everyone benefited from some extra movement. Getting the warriors into the building, the immortals over the pipes, ready to hold those objectives. Everything else has just moved up. I was just short of shooting with the Triarch Stalker, otherwise I could have got a couple of shots on the Battle Sisters. At the moment though, the Imperium side, I decided to put the aggressive imperative in activation for the Skitarii, giving them an extra 3 inch of movement but reducing their armor save. But with the cover from the pipes, they'll improve that back to 1, so that's alright. My right of battle for my sisters is, I think the only one that's going to be any good is Divine Guidance. And I didn't bother putting any canticles on my Cataphrons. So everything is in position. Game is tied, and I did get 2 miracle dice. One was a 3, one was a 5. I used the 5 to make the sisters go that a little bit faster. So with everything still to play for, and again I forgot. Command points, I'm using the same rules as the previous mission, so we start with 3, and from the second turn onwards we get 1 at the start of each of our turns. So it is everything to play for, and it's Necrons. I lost it, there it is, turn 2. Bottom of turn 2, and it was a immense turn. It had a lot of stuff going on. Starting with the Necrons, so I went for Protocol of Vengeance Stars and chose the second directive, so opponents don't receive cover. Helped as I managed to burn off 2 sisters of the Triarch Stalker. You will notice, of course, there is no Triarch Stalker. I'll get to that in a second. The rest of the Necrons didn't do a lot, they just huddled up and tried to get as many points as they can, putting them up to a massive 6 now, as they had 3 objectives plus 1, which plus 1 from being more than the enemy. Then on to the Imperium. So chose the Benediction of the Omnissiah, but I didn't actually get around to shooting with anything, so that was kind of a waste. Protocol, Protector, Imperative, so plus 1 ballistic skill, which was helpful for my Skitarii. Moved them all up so they were in base contact with the terrain, making it easier for next turn to get over. And they all had a good shooting at Triarch Stalker, putting 10 wounds, no, not 10, 8 wounds, because the Canoness managed to do 2 with her plasma pistol. She led the charge. She led the first volley of fire, followed by the Battle Sisters next door to her. Battle Sisters didn't do much, but like I said, the plasma pistol did 2 wounds to the Triarch Stalker. And then the Skitarii did a further 8. Then we decided to go into combats. Everything had moved out from its place in cover. The Arcoflagellants went in first and took the Triarch Stalker's overwatch, which incinerated the poor little blighters. But that let the Repentia Engine, Repentia, and the Repentia Mistress able to get in. Repentia Engine tried to do his best, but couldn't wound. But the Repentia, I dropped 2 miracle dice to make sure 2 hits hit with a double 5. And when it came to wounding, I managed to get 4 of my 6 hits wounding. So with the rerolls from Zealot, all of my attacks hit regardless. And they managed to rip through his quantum shielding and tear him limb from limb. So the Necrons are now going to have to be a little bit more aggressive and try to take back some lost ground. Game, though, is still tied. I am out of objective markers, so I'll start to use dice. Last thing to do for this turn is to drop my last miracle dice, which is a 1 for the morale test on the sisters here. So they auto pass. But like I said, really good turn, a lot of action, but there is still a lot to play for as the game is tied. So we're going to move on to Necrons turn 3. End of turn 3, and things have gone from, well, bad to worse for the Imperium. Sorry, not bad to worse, bad to better. So, Necron turn, the Warriors and the Crypt deck did a swap around, getting them up onto the top level. That got all guns beaded on the Repentias there in the middle. The Pentia engine died to a combination of Harbinger of Doom from the Crypt deck, the pistols from the Crypt deck rules, and the Lance itself. Poor guy didn't stand a chance. The Repentia and the Mistress died. Repentia died to the Gore's Blasters at the back, and the Mistress died to the Gore's Reapers. So that had thinned the Imperial's offensive abilities a little bit. The Necrons are going to have to do some decisive manoeuvring on the next turn. They need to get out, wipe out a couple of units, claim objectives, and then, well, hope that they stay on those objectives. Imperium turn 3 though, the Battle Sisters moved up onto the top level here. Superior still on the bottom level and within 3 of the objective. Seraphim decided to come down, end of the battle phase. Didn't do any damage with pistols. Charged in, again, didn't do any damage. Cataphrons revved their engines and went straight through the walls, getting into the objective here. Skitarii and the Dominus are on the objective back there. So the Necrons scored 2 points in their turn for holding 2 objectives, while the Imperium scored 4, holding 3 objectives and one for more than their opponents. It could be an Imperial victory, but there's a chance the Necrons could get some victory points back if they manage to wipe out certain units. So, without further ado, let's begin Necron turn 4. So at the bottom of 4, things for the Necrons are dire. They've not only lost a lot of the control of the objectives, they have also lost their commander. The Overlord got shot and charged by the Cataphrons, and the Tech Priest Engineer lost 4 wounds to shooting from the Cataphrons, and then the axe from the Engineer finished it off. Not much else that can be done for the Necrons to win. They are currently losing 12 points to 8. In order to win, they'd need to abandon their hold over this side, go for a kill on the Warlord, and still try to claim as many objectives as possible. Really, that's not likely to happen. I will play through tomorrow, but right now I've had a really long, tiring day, and my phone has been on pause for most of the day, and I've ignored a lot of things that I'm supposed to be doing today. So there it is. As it is an Imperium victory. The Necrons could try and gain a few points in the last turn, but I don't know if they'll gain enough to actually win. I have lost a lot on the Imperium side. The only things left on the Sisters are Battle Sisters and the Canoness, and the only AdMech units left are... I've actually still got 3 AdMech units left. Cataphrons lost 1 of their number, but they passed the leadership test and they're still alive, centre field there. And the Dominus is hiding down behind there, engaged with the Crypto Thralls. Or the 1 Crypto Thrall that's left, should I say. But, like I said, I might play it tomorrow morning, I might not, but I'm going to call it there as an Imperium victory. So, all what's left to do is to look into the future. Our next Imperium is issue 54, which includes our final contingent of Adeptus Sororitas models. Not only do we learn to build and paint these models, we get Adeptus Sororitas stratagems, and we deploy our full force in a new battle. Then issue 55, we get our last set of thermic plasma conduits, build a terrain, we learn about the Iron Hands, and we gain a new terrain heavy mission with some new objectives to use. Plus, we also get the Adeptus Mechanicus stratagems as well, so I'm guessing there'll be a very heavily focused Adeptus Mechanicus mission there. But that's the look into the future for you, and it's going to be quite a good issue. I've already worked out a few conversions. I'm waiting on a box of Seraphim so I can convert the 2 Seraphim to have some alternate hand pistols. I'll build 2 up with hand flamers and 2 up with the Inferno pistols just to show those. I'll probably build 1 and 1 at the moment, but eventually for my own personal collection I'll be doing 2 of each and having 2 squads of 5 with 1 set of twin Inferno and 1 set of twin hand flamers. But that will be saved for next week's video. It will probably be a all-in-one video because there's not a lot for us to go through. I do have to wait to build and paint the models though, so it might be 2 parts. Don't hold me to that at the moment. But yeah, there we have it. So that was issue 53 of the Imperium, and we have finished the Triarch Stalker. And we have lost that Triarch Stalker in its first battle. New model syndrome hits again. But I think I was a little too aggressive with it. I moved it forward. It's more of a support unit. It's supposed to help your other units shoot better. So charging it forward into the center objective was a bit of a mistake on my part. Perhaps in the future I might replay this mission at some point and try a little bit more tactics on the Necron side. And I think I definitely messed up the order on when I activated my command protocols. Some of them could have been done with the turn after being activated, but in hindsight my strategy went out the window pretty early on. So all's left for me to do is to say thank you all for watching. This is definitely a shorter one than the last video, but be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe for more mad content. And of course, I'll see you next time on the Imperium Journey. Take care. Goodbye.